You may be aware that the World Economic Forum recently took place in China. Our very own Bronwyn Nielsen spoke to Dr. Precious Motsepe, who's the executive chairperson of the AFI, about the current state of emerging markets. Let's take a look.
It's not all negative. I'm very hopeful about emerging markets. I think with the advent of the BRICS, coming together, including South Africa, firstly, I believe that we have a huge advantage in terms of our population numbers, and in particular in terms of our demographics. Africa, for instance, has one of the largest youth population, which potentially we know could turn into a great market for consumer-facing companies. It also has the potential of serving as a future human resource for Africa and other emerging economies, as well as emerged markets. So I'm very hopeful as far as that is concerned. The other thing that I'm very hopeful about is in the healthcare space in particular. Here in Dalian, I've just been in a session where we talked about technology, and I think with the advances that are being made in terms of technology, how we can use technology to improve on access to healthcare for emerging markets, particularly the poor countries. If you're looking also at the continent itself, access to health, as well as leapfrogging some of the advances that had been made in the West, and we can quickly get to a stage where we can provide the best healthcare for very affordable prices for our huge population.
Do you think that Africa is doing enough when it comes to investing in technology?
I'd love to see more investment in technology on the continent. I think we've got pockets of excellence. If you look at South Africa, for instance, in Cape Town, I am part of this, we lead social entrepreneurship on the continent with the World Economic Forum. And there are some amazing young people in Cape Town who are using technology to improve and bring solutions to some of the, particularly again, healthcare needs. There's also pockets of excellence in, for instance, Kenya, which on the continent I would say is leading in terms of internet technology, payment systems. So I think we have a lot of potential, in particular when it comes to technology, and in also driving the entrepreneurship that we're seeing on the continent.
Talking about entrepreneurship, let's touch on AFI, African Fashion International, which is your brainchild and is certainly making inroads when it comes to empowering young designers across Africa. Given the weakness in the rand and other emerging market currencies, this could be a very good time for manufacturing in Africa and exporting. This must be exciting for you.
It is absolutely exciting, the opportunities that we can take as the world's biggest manufacturer. As I said, we have the numbers, we have the skills, and collaborations with China, for instance, that turned itself into the world's manufacturing base, where we can transfer skills on the continent as they move up the value chain. We can take on, and lead in the manufacturing space.
And again, just in terms of fashion and traction that you're having with your business across Africa, just a brief word before we wrap it up.
I'm very excited and hopeful about the creative industry, particularly the fashion industry. We've seen in South Africa how we have large numbers of your high-end companies that are coming to South Africa in an attempt to penetrate the continent. And for me, that says the talent that resides on the continent needs to be showcased. So African Fashion International is definitely on the right path in terms of finding that niche for African designers and African luxury brands. And that's what African Fashion International is about.